Hello bookworms! Today I'm here to do my O.W.Ls Read-A-Thon TBR. And I know you might be thinking you just posted a July TBR, and that is true. But I recently found out about the O.W.Ls Read-A-Thon, which was created by Book Roast. I have videos in my watch later queue from like April because I was just so busy with moving, as I've said in like 1,000 videos at this point, but I really just fell so far behind on like everything else. So I just found out about the O.W.Ls Read-A-Thon, which actually took place during April, but there are a couple of people that I know that are doing it in July because the next readathon, the Newts Readathon, is going to be taking place in August. So I want to complete my O.W.Ls in July so that I can try for my Newts next month in August. Some of these books will be books that were in my July TBR, but I'm going to tell you like all of the subjects, all of the options that I'm going to choose from, and then we'll see what I actually complete. So I'll leave a link down below to Book Roast's video so that you can get like the full way that the readathon works in case you want to participate in July as well, which is a good month to do so because it's Harry's birthday month. You basically choose a book for each subject. There's like criteria that goes along with it, and then if you read that book, you pass. And there are different ways to figure out whether you got a passing or a failing grade. And then once you complete your O.W.Ls, then you can continue on to do your Newts in the subjects that you passed in for the O.W.Ls. So that's why the O.W.Ls are kind of like a prerequisite. But anyway, I'm gonna get into the books that I am considering reading. I already have an idea of what I want to focus on, but I'm gonna just give myself all of the options anyway. That way I can kind of mood read as I tend to do. So the first subject is Ancient Runes, a book with a symbol on the cover. And for that, I am going with The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I tried to read this last year and I read about 70 pages of it and I liked what I had read, but it just wasn't the like right time for me to read it. So I've been meaning to go back to it and I definitely want to read it before the second book comes out. So this would be the perfect book for this category. The next subject is Arithmancy. Read a book with a number on the cover or in the title. And for this one, I chose Alana, the First Adventure by Tamara Pierce. This is a series that I've been meaning to get to like forever, and it's kind of like a quintessential fantasy series. I love that it's written by a woman and that it's an older fantasy, but it follows a female main character, and it's pretty short too, so I feel like I will definitely be able to read this. The next category is Astronomy. Read a science fiction novel, and for this one, I am going to be finishing up the Themis Files and reading the third book, Only Human by Sylvain Neuvel. I've been so anticipating this book, and I am so excited to read the conclusion, and I actually just got the audiobook out from the library, so I may listen to it along while I read from the actual physical book. Next is Care of Magical Creatures. Read a book that includes magical creatures or has magical creatures on the cover. And for this, I'm going with Arusha and the End of Time by Roshani Chokshi. This is another one that I've been meaning to get to since like March when it came out, and it's compared to Sailor Moon, and I do not need to know anything else about it, but right on the cover there, we've got a tiger and some horses and what looks like a peacock. So there are lots of creatures on this cover. It does say magical creatures, and these are not necessarily magical, but I know that this story involves magic, so I'm confident that there are more to these animals. Next is Charms. Read a fantasy book. This is a pretty easy one because a lot of my TBR already is just fantasy, so that works out. But for this one, I'm going to go with Half a War by Joe Abercrombie. This is another series that I really wanted to finish this year. I also started it this year, but I just love it. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to just use this one for that prompt and close this one out. Next is Defense Against the Dark Arts, a book about or featuring secret societies or clubs. And for this one, I'm going to go with A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. This is one that was on my July TBR anyway, so it fits into this category because, as you know, there is a rebellion that had formed at the beginning of the first novel, and there's been a lot of changes and progress that has been made, and I'm expecting a lot more of that in this third installment. The next one is Divination. Read a book featuring prophecies. This one I'm kind of going out on a limb on. I have no idea if there are prophecies in here, but I just feel like there would be, so I'm very much hoping that this book fits, and that is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. There's a religious aspect to the book because it takes place at a convent, so that's why I'm hoping that there will possibly be a prophecy, but otherwise I couldn't really find anything on my TBR that had prophecies in it that I could think of, or on my like Goodreads list, so I'm hoping that this works. Next is Herbology. Read a book with a nature-related word in the title. And for this one, I am choosing Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I'm actually already in the middle of reading this one. or rather not really in the middle, but I'm 2 chapters into it. So I know that I'm gonna be finishing this one before the end of the month, and that will be my herbology pick. Next is History of Magic. Read a historical fiction novel. So for this, I am going with Escaping Houdini by Carrie Maniscalco. This book takes place in New York City in the time of Harry Houdini, and I have been so looking forward to reading it, so I know that it has that historical aspect to it. Next is Muggle Studies. Read a Muggle nonfiction book, and for this one I decided to just opt out because I don't think there are any nonfiction books that I currently have on my TBR at the moment. So instead of just picking one at random that I'm not gonna read, I'm just gonna like skip it and know that I'm not going into Muggle Studies for my newts. And actually the same thing goes for the next category, which is potions, and that is choose a book with alchemy in it. I couldn't think of any books with alchemy in it, and I looked up some Goodreads lists for books with alchemy, and I just read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in June, and I'm not gonna read that again. I just don't have anything to pick for this category. The next category is Transfiguration, and it is to read a book that deals with transfiguration or shapeshifting or something in the similar theme. And for that one, I am choosing Written in Red by Anne Bishop. This is another one that has been on my TBR for so long, and it's a really good excuse to just go ahead and read it and know that there's like werewolves, and I see a wolf on the cover there. So those are all of my choices for the Owls Read-A-Thon. Thank you so much to Book Roast for inventing this. I think this is like brilliant, and I'm so excited to participate in the Newts Read-A-Thon next month, but first I have to complete these, so I have to go and get reading. Let me know if you're gonna participate too. Let me know if you already participated in April when it was actually held, and I will see you guys soon in a new video. Bye!